how does this all play out? We get to 93, everything goes wrong in 95. How does this continue over those next 2 years, the big moments until?
Yeah, I like May 93, the loss is up to $20 million. I'm short a straddle, like massive straddle. I make all of the 20 million back. So I've got the opposite problem now. There's $250,000 worth of profit. Somebody books that onto their trading book in Tokyo, and I genuinely go home that weekend believing that, Hail Mary or whatever you want to call it.
You're done. You're out of it.
Yeah, I'm out.
With a profit.
I can start. I'm not even bothered about somebody else can have the profit. I'm just out, and I want to start my life again. Probably what I should have done at that point is hand my notice in and go and do something completely different. That's not what I did. I'm back on the trading floor on the Monday morning. The bad behaviours that have manifested themselves during the last 6 months are front and centre again.
Such as?
The guys on the trading floor, they've never been admonished, they've never been reprimanded. If they make an error, they overtrade, undertrade or whatever else. It all goes into the 5/8 account. Okay, it was a catch-all account for everything that went wrong.
And you're encouraging them to kind of do that, or it's okay? You're not managing them
I'm not
well.
encouraging them,
Okay.
but I'm not managing. Exactly right. There's no differentiation.
Lax.
Yeah, there's no differentiation between me and them. Like George, one of the order fillers, he split up with his wife for a while. He came and lived in my house. There was no employer-employee relationship. So
Okay.
it was. I'm not going to say it was toxic, but it was approaching that from an organisational perspective. It was toxic.
Okay.
Because there was no. There was no boss and there was no employees.
Okay.
Figuratively there were, but it wasn't happening from a control or a system perspective. So
what about you as a trader? I mean, you must have enjoyed putting on the size and bullying the markets around and making the money.
I didn't. That wasn't the concept that was going through my head at the time. I mean, the size side of it, I can accept, right? Because you were, the bigger swinging dick when you're putting the size out. But, I didn't want to be doing the size. The size was because I'm short this huge straddle. It can't move, right? If it moves 200-300 points, that's okay because I'm covered on the straddle. But if the market's, opening up sellers only and we're going to be 700 points lower, that's no good for me. I'm getting my arse handed to me. Right, so you're trying. So the reason why I was long so many futures was to try and keep at the straddle levels, so that the straddles would expire closer, and so subsequently my futures position is just building. The market's falling dynamically. So $20 million. So on the Monday morning when we go back in, the guys make errors. They go back into the 5/8 account. I've often looked at that process and, why didn't I admonish them then? And why didn't I, make everything clear that there were errors at that particular point? I think.
Because it's a judge would say, it sounds like you still enjoyed the risk and wanted the risk,
Possibly. I don't know if that, I don't know if I went through that process at the time.
Okay.
I think I think subconsciously, I think if I'd highlighted errors at that point, people were then going to look back.
Right.
Over the preceding period, and they would have seen that I was failing. I think the failure, still that, I think making the failure public, public just within the organisation, or the failure to my family, I think that was throughout for me, that was the overriding, the overriding motivation.